That it has credible information linking Indian government agents to the murder of a Sikh separatist leader in British Columbia. He was named a terrorist in New Delhi. New Delhi immediately called the accusations as being absurd and motivated. Canada expelled a top Indian diplomat, and India retaliated in a tit-for-tat move and asked the Canadian intelligence agency station chief in India to leave the country. Our next report explains the situation.
The gloves are off. A diplomatic battle is raging between Ottawa and New Delhi. The Canadian Prime Minister accuses India of being behind the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead outside a Sikh holy shrine on June 18th in Surrey, a Vancouver suburb. Nijjar was the chief of the separatist organization Khalistan Tiger Force. According to New Delhi, Nijjar was actively involved with the Khalistan Liberation Force. He was designated a terrorist in July 2020 by India and also carried a cash reward of 10 lakh rupees, that's $12,000.
Alors, bien entendu, j'aimerais transmettre mes condoléances à la famille et aux proches de Hardeep Singh Nijjar. L'allégation qu'un représentant d'un gouvernement étranger puisse être impliqué dans le meurtre d'un citoyen canadien, ici, chez nous, en sol canadien, est non seulement extrêmement troublante, mais complètement inacceptable. Si ces allégations sont prouvées, il s'agirait d'une grave violation de notre souveraineté en tant que pays, mais également des règles les plus élémentaires qui gouvernent les relations entre pays.
The Indian Foreign Ministry has called the allegations absurd and stated that Ottawa is seeking to shift the focus from Khalistani terrorists and extremists who have been provided shelter in Canada and continue to threaten India's sovereignty and territorial integrity. New Delhi is unhappy over Sikh separatist activity in Canada and has time and again sounded off the Trudeau government. The Indian Prime Minister conveyed his strong concerns to Trudeau at the G20 summit over the recent demonstrations in Canada by Sikhs calling for an independent state. In June, some Khalistani elements in Brampton reportedly took out a float depicting the assassination of former Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. However, despite India's repeated reminders, Trudeau has refused to rein in separatist elements and has not acted on attacks on temples and the Indian mission. Experts have also pointed out domestic politics at play in Canada. Multiple polls have shown that Trudeau's popularity has dropped steadily, and at this juncture he is increasingly wooing the Sikh diaspora, which makes up a considerable support base for the Liberal Party. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For more on this, we are now being joined by Ambassador Anil Wadhwa from the Indian capital, New Delhi. He's a former Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us on WION. You know, the saying goes that all politics are local. How much of this incident has to do with Canada's internal affairs?
I think it has a lot to do with Canada's internal affairs because we know for a fact that the actions that the Trudeau government has taken, especially the expulsion of a diplomat from the Indian mission, was totally uncalled for. And that's because if you look at the choice of words while describing this action, Prime Minister Trudeau himself in Parliament talked about credible allegations. First of all, allegations cannot be credible. Secondly, the potential links that he talked about, there's nothing which is proven, even in his own words. And on top of that, he raised this issue with the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Modi, when he was here for the G20 summit, and he was clearly told that there is no such linkage at all of Indian agents or authorities with what has happened in Canada with regard to this incident. Now, despite that, he chose to go back to Canada and raise this issue in Parliament, followed by an expulsion of the Indian diplomat. Obviously, retaliation had to take place, and that has happened here in New Delhi. But what he does not realize is that unless local politics are tempered, you can have a big fallout on a relationship, which is a relationship between India and Canada, which is not of a very small size. And that's exactly the effect of the local politics on this relationship.
Mr. Ambassador, how serious is this for Canada-India relations moving forward and their ties? Will it to what extent would it jeopardize these relations?
It certainly will, at least in the short to medium term, because India and Canada enjoy extensive trade and investment relations. There is a large diaspora from India which lives in Canada. 3% of the Canadian population consists of people of Indian origin. Many of them are doing extremely well in the professional services in Canada. Canada has a lot of Indian students which go to Canada to study every year. The numbers are increasing year by year, in fact. And all that is going to go down steadily if things don't improve. I don't see that happening in the near term because of this particular incident, and also because of the fact that the Canadian domestic politics have cast a shadow on this otherwise very promising relationship. In fact, the free trade agreement that India and Canada have been negotiating for some time now was also put on hold by the Trudeau government just before the visit of Prime Minister Trudeau to India for the G20 for reasons which were not communicated to the Indian side.
Okay, Mr. Anil Wadhwa, a former secretary at the Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi, thank you so much for joining us on WION and shedding light on this issue.
Thank you.